Every day, it's becoming clearer that Iran is preparing to retaliate against Israel. The Times of Israel revealed that Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, emphasized that Iran's response would be intense, using the phrase breaking teeth to describe it, and he even posted this statement on Twitter, adding weight to his words. This public message shows that Iran is serious, and with time, it's becoming obvious that Iran's response might be larger in scale than any previous action against Israel. This situation raises a few critical questions. First, what will the U.S. response be if Iran strikes Israel? Second, why is Iran planning a response that seems stronger than ever before? Why is this particular moment different? And third, why did Iran initially downplay Israel's strike, suggesting that its air defenses had neutralized most of it and that there was minimal impact? Originally, Iranian media downplayed Israel's attack, implying that it didn't warrant a response. But now, Iranian officials are changing their tone, acknowledging that Israel's strike was significant and vowing to retaliate. Why has Iran moved from dismissing the attack to preparing a forceful response? This shift is indeed serious. The third and perhaps most important question is about the endgame they might both be agreeing upon. Think about it. Before Iran strikes Israel, Iran is reportedly informing Israel of every detail, like when they'll strike, how they'll strike, and even the origin point of the missile. What's going on here? Are Iran and Israel actually coordinating some kind of final scene together, or is this idea completely far-fetched, with neither side actually in contact or communicating in any way? This episode is extremely important and will reveal very serious facts and secrets about what's happening between Israel and Iran. I hope you watch it all the way through, as it includes information you might not find anywhere else. But of course, to explain everything and uncover all the details, I need to tell you the whole story from the beginning. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, cast a long shadow over the Middle East with his recent pronouncements. His words were not just mere rhetoric, they were a stark reminder of the deep-seated tensions that have plagued the region for decades. His words, laced with anger and defiance, threatened retaliation against the United States and Israel. Khamenei's tone was unmistakably severe, reflecting the gravity of the situation and the potential for escalation. Khamenei's pronouncements, delivered with his characteristic fiery rhetoric, sent shockwaves through the region. His speeches have always been a barometer of Iran's stance, and this time, the message was clear. Iran would not back down. Tensions, already simmering after years of animosity and mistrust, spiked dramatically. The region, already a powder keg, seemed on the brink of a new and dangerous phase of conflict. The world watched with bated breath, fearing the outbreak of a wider conflict. News outlets around the globe covered the developments extensively, highlighting the potential for a catastrophic escalation. The immediate trigger for Khamenei's outburst was a series of Israeli airstrikes on Iranian-linked targets in Syria. These airstrikes were part of a broader strategy by Israel to limit Iran's influence in the region, a strategy that has often led to violent confrontations. These strikes, part of Israel's ongoing campaign to curb Iranian influence in the region, resulted in significant casualties. The human toll was devastating, with many innocent lives lost and communities shattered. Khamenei, viewing these attacks as an act of aggression, vowed a forceful response. His declaration was not just a warning but a promise of retaliation, aimed at deterring further Israeli actions. The Zionist regime will be punished for its crimes, he declared, his voice resonating with chilling certainty. This statement underscored the deep animosity between Iran and Israel, a conflict that has shaped much of the region's recent history. The international community, already grappling with numerous crises, expressed deep concern. Diplomatic channels buzzed with activity as world leaders sought to prevent the situation from spiraling out of control. The United States, a staunch ally of Israel, condemned Iran's threats and reaffirmed its commitment to Israel's security. Washington's support for Israel has been unwavering, and this latest development only strengthened that bond. The European Union, while urging restraint on all sides, called for a de-escalation of tensions. European leaders emphasized the need for dialogue and diplomacy to resolve the crisis. The situation remained volatile, a tinderbox awaiting a spark. The potential for a broader conflict loomed large, with the stakes higher than ever. The world could only hope that cooler heads would prevail and that a path to peace could be found amidst the chaos. Khamenei's threats did not remain empty words. His rhetoric was a clear signal of the escalating tensions in the region, a harbinger of the violence that was soon to follow. Within days, Iranian-backed forces in Syria launched a barrage of rockets towards Israeli positions in the Golan Heights. This aggressive move was a stark reminder of the fragile peace that hangs by a thread in this volatile region. The attack, while causing minimal damage, underscored the seriousness of the situation. It was a clear message that the conflict could escalate at any moment, with potentially devastating consequences. Israel, responding with its customary swiftness, carried out further airstrikes against Iranian targets in Syria. These retaliatory strikes were intended to send a strong message that any aggression would be met with decisive force. This tit-for-tat exchange of fire, while contained for the moment, illustrated the dangerous cycle of violence that has plagued the region for decades. Each side's actions only serve to provoke the other, perpetuating a seemingly endless cycle of retaliation. Each act of aggression, whether real or perceived, fuels a deeper cycle of resentment and retribution. The anger and frustration felt by the people on both sides only add to the intensity of the conflict. This cycle, fueled by historical grievances and ideological differences, shows no signs of abating. The deep-seated animosities and long-standing disputes continue to drive the conflict, making peace seem like a distant dream. The escalating tensions have also raised concerns about the potential for miscalculation. In such a charged environment, even a small error in judgment could have catastrophic consequences. In the fog of war, even a minor incident could spiral out of control, leading to a wider conflagration. The unpredictability of the situation makes it all the more dangerous. The risk of unintended consequences, always present in such a volatile environment, looms large. The international community watches with bated breath, hoping for a resolution but fearing the worst. To understand the current crisis, one must delve into the long and complex history between Iran, the United States, and Israel. This intricate web of interactions has been shaped by geopolitical interests, ideological differences, and regional power dynamics. Relations between these nations have been marked by decades of mistrust, hostility, and occasional outbreaks of violence. The roots of this animosity can be traced back to the mid-20th century, when the U.S. and Britain orchestrated a coup to overthrow Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, in 1953. This shared history, replete with broken promises and deep-seated grievances, serves as a constant backdrop to the present tensions. Over the years, numerous attempts at diplomacy have been made, but each has been undermined by mutual suspicion and conflicting agendas. The 1979 Islamic Revolution in Iran, which toppled the U.S.-backed Shah and brought Ayatollah Khamenei to power, marked a turning point. This revolution not only transformed Iran's political landscape, but also significantly altered its relations with the West. The subsequent hostage crisis, during which Iranian students held American diplomats captive for 444 days, poisoned relations for years to come. This event left a lasting scar on the American psyche and cemented Iran's image as a hostile nation in the eyes of many Americans. The United States, viewing Iran as a rogue state and a sponsor of terrorism, imposed crippling sanctions and sought to isolate Iran on the world stage. These sanctions have had a profound impact on Iran's economy, affecting everything from its oil exports to its access to international financial systems. Israel, meanwhile, has long viewed Iran as an existential threat. The rhetoric from Tehran, often calling for the destruction of the Israeli state, has only heightened these fears. Iran's nuclear program, which Israel believes is aimed at developing nuclear weapons, has been a particular source of concern. Despite Iran's insistence that its nuclear ambitions are purely for peaceful purposes, the international community remains skeptical. Israel has repeatedly warned that it will not tolerate a nuclear-armed Iran and has conducted covert operations to sabotage Iran's nuclear facilities. These actions, often shrouded in secrecy, have included cyber attacks, targeted assassinations of nuclear scientists, and other forms of sabotage, further escalating tensions in the region. The current crisis is further complicated by the complex web of alliances and rivalries that define the Middle East. The region is a geopolitical chessboard, with global powers vying for influence. Iran, through its support of proxy militias and its regional ambitions, has emerged as a formidable power. Russia, seeking to reassert its influence in the region, has emerged as a key ally of Iran. China, with its growing economic interests in the Middle East, has also deepened its ties with Iran. This burgeoning alliance presents a challenge to the United States, which has long sought to maintain its dominance in the region.